Hi, class. Today we're going to be talking about why recycling should be a mandatory law. We all heard of Visco girls. They have been using plastic or glass items to substitute plastic items. Here they go walking down the hall with a hydro flask and metal straws. And oop, and I oop, and oop. Yeah, we all get that. But let's start off. We always been introduced to recycling ever since we were in kindergarten, first grade, whatever grade you were in. You always been introduced to recycling. You always had recycling books, recycling programs, and the bins in the classroom to tell you where to put each item, such as the glass, plastic, and basically the paper too. Now, my main claim is that, as I stated before, recycling of all forms should be a mandatory law by the U.S. government. Now, as we start to get in more of the government process and everything, many people say that's not even a big law to do. That's not something you should make mandatory. Global warming is real. Global warming is coming, and global warming will ruin us if we don't try to take care of our earth and be responsible for what we're doing, because we're the ones putting all the trash everywhere and not trying to substitute it. To get into my first body, we're going to talk about what recycling is and its meaning and what it needs and everything. Now let's start. To be specific, recycling is a process of collecting and processing materials that would otherwise be thrown away as trash and turning them into new products. In my claim today, we're going to talk more specifically about plastic, because that's one that's not, dio- like degradable, and it takes a very long time for it to degrade in the soil. So therefore, it ends up getting into oceans, streams, ponds, and all that, and it's hurting our wildlife. All right, it can using okay to be more specific and to mainly talking about plastic, it can be changed into many different things and very reusable. Okay, according to the article Plastics Recycling Challenges and Opportunities by the author Jefferson Hopewell, he states plastics are inexpensive, lightweight, and durable materials which can readily be molded into a variety of products that find use in a range of appliances and applications and all that. As a consequence, the production of plastics had increased markedly over the last 6 years. We've been using a lot of plastic. We use plastic bags, trash bags, plastic bottles, water bottles, Coke, the rings around the Coke cans and everything. We're not doing right as a community and as a society in the United States by recycling. Yes, there are people who do recycle, and yes, there are people who care about recycling, but there is a majority that outrules that part. We have a lot of people who don't care about recycling, and yes, I'm guilty. I don't recycle every day, but I try to. The things that you can use out of reusing plastic and making into new things is such a wide variety. You can use recycled plastic as trash bags, kitchenware, countertops, carpets, and etc. It goes all the way on. Who knew just by recycling your plastic, you can go from a little bitty bottle of plastic or a little plastic bag to carpet. Ain't that bizarre? And recycling is one of the most important actions currently available to reduce these impacts, and represents one of the most dynamic areas in the plastic industry today. Recycling provides opportunities to oil usage, carbon dioxide emissions, and the quantities of waste requiring disposal. This is a quote from the article that I recently just stated from. Recycling, I'm going to repeat it again just to get it through, y'all. Recycling provides opportunities to reduce oil usage, carbon dioxide emissions, and the quantities of waste requiring disposal. Like I said, that is one form of pollution going into our air, and it's killing our ozone layer, which is very important to our health as humans because it helps us protect from the sun, so the rays will not come shooting down on Earth and destroy us. Carbon dioxide is not a gas that you really want to inhale. It's not. And the quantities of waste requiring with disposal is tremendous. You do not want that to happen. Now, as we can, our next quote that we're going to go into talking about how is I'm going to read it straight from the article. However, current levels of their usage in disposable generate several environmental problems. Around 4% of the world oil and gas production, a non-renewable resource, is used as feedstock for plastics, and further 3 to 4% is expended to provide energy for their manufacture. A major portion of plastic proceeded each year is used to make disposable items of packaging or other short-lived products that are discarded within a year manufacture. These two observations alone indicate that our current use of plastic is not sustainable. All right, our current use of plastic, like they say, is not sustainable. We can go from being Visco girls one day to using all the plastic and then throwing it in the trash and not giving a crap. The generations that we have nowadays, Generation X and Z, we're used to the plastic bags at the grocery store, not getting reusable bags. We're used to stuff that we can throw away. We don't worry about recycling. And that's really what's wrong with our generation right now. We're not caring about the next generation's use of the earth and how the earth will benefit them. We're not. And I'm just going to be honest. So when it's saying our country is not sustainable, we're not sustainable of recycling. We say we're going to recycle, but next thing you know, we're not recycling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that citation was from Linda Dirksen and John Gatrell, the social context of recycling, in the book American Sociological Review. Now let's go ahead and get to our second body and conclusion. Recycling should be mandatory. As I stated, recycling should be mandatory all across the United States. Recycling is an important process in our lives that should be taken serious and be taken to the next level. I'm going to explain it. People do take recycling serious, and yes, there are people who actually recycle. People in the schools recycle, and some people don't. I'm going to be honest, at my high school, Baldwin High School, we have recycling bins in each classroom. But they fail to use the recycling bins every day. Teachers waste thousands of sheets of paper. I'm not going to say any names, but they waste thousands of sheets of paper making worksheets every day for no absolute reason, which I don't understand when you can just write it down on paper and reuse that paper and everything. No, we have recycling bins, like I said, in each classroom. Our students fail to realize that recycling is an important process. When we get done with our food, we don't even have a compost that they do it in. They just throw it in the trash, which is understandable. But when it comes to the plastics and the metals and the paper, our recycling bins are there, but they fail to enforce us using it. They're more worried about phones and blah 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 instead of us helping our society and nature problems that really will benefit us later on in our futures. They're more worried about phones, but that's a different story for a different time. They are not enforcing recycling. They're not enforcing us to help protect our earth, help protect what we're living for, what we're living on. They're not trying to help us enforce that. There are really social norms in recycling. Social norms are stuff like, it's basically like the norms of it, like what makes people want to do it and what makes them not want to do it. I'm sorry for that. Okay, many Americans across America agree with this claim, and some don't. And I can understand why some don't. Some be like, oh, it's blocking our freedom to make us try to recycle when we don't care for doing that. And some believe that recycling is a social norm, like I stated before, and it doesn't matter. Okay, according to the article Recycling Norms by author Anne E. Carlson, she states, the resolution of these problems requires heterogeneous groups of individuals with no real connection to one another to change their behavior for little or no economic gain. I'm going to explain that. They're not trying to change their behavior for our economy. They're not trying to recycle. They say they don't care. They don't even care about little things. Why would they care about recycling? Why would they take the effort and time to recycle out of their day? They're not. Now, let's get into statistics. In the U.S. of 2017, 260.8 million tons of trash were generated. 193.6 million tons end up in landfills, where some of that can end up in ocean, sewers, lakes, and etc. That the ones that end up in the ocean and sewers and lakes, that can get in our wildlife and affect the food chain in the oceans and stuff, and which was not good, which can affect us because we eat fish, we eat shrimp. That can really mess up things. In April 2019, the U.S. recovered many types of recyclable things. To be specific, 53.07 tons of plastic were recovered, ferrous metals 75.65 tons, and composite material 6.2 tons. I'm not bashing the U.S. for not making recycling mandatory law because they are recycling pretty good. They are doing things to help us recycle, and we are getting better. But as the citizens of the United States, we need to do better. My final claim is recycling should be mandatory and the program should be spread all across America and even all across the world. Global warming, pollution, and etc. is coming for us. They're coming for our necks. They are ready to destroy us, especially global warming. And I repeat that. Now, I'm going to end with a joke. Everybody recycles. I know you have that bag full of plastic bags in your cabinet waiting for you to use. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.